Lila Carter never meant to linger in the house her parents left her. It was a plain, boxy place in a sleepy Virginia suburb, its cedar siding faded, the front yard a mess of crabgrass and dandelions. Tucked at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac, it felt like a world apart, just far enough from town for peace, but close enough for pizza deliveries. 6 months after her dad passed, Lila, a logistics manager juggling spreadsheets from her Brooklyn apartment, came down to sort out the paperwork, cut off the utilities, and get the place ready to sell. But something about the creaky back porch, the way sunlight spilled through the kitchen window late in the day, held her back. 2 months later, she was still there, typing emails by morning, yanking weeds by afternoon, finding a strange comfort in fixing up the old place with her own hands. It was one of those early spring afternoons, the air crisp and the ground soft from rain, when everything changed. Lila was crouched by the northern fence, old jeans streaked with dirt, gloves caked in mud, tugging out a snarl of ivy where her family's land met the neighbors, the Warrens. The Warrens, Ed and Diane, both retired, tanned from years of fussing over their yard, had lived next door for decades. Lila barely knew them, maybe a nod or two, but she'd noticed Diane's VYB, always out clipping perfectly trimmed hedges, bossing delivery guys like she owned the block, rearranging her lawn gnomes with military precision. The woman had a way of saying, "I'm in charge," without saying a word. Lila was prying up some half-buried bricks, probably an old garden border, when a county patrol car rolled up, slow and deliberate, no sirens but all business. 2 officers stepped out, hands on their belts, calm but watchful. The taller one, sunglasses perched on his head, spoke first. "Ma'am, we got a call about suspicious active VY here. Can we talk?" Lila, still gripping her spade, stood up confused. "This is my property," she said, brushing sweat off her brow. "I'm just doing yard work." "What's this about?" The officers swapped a glance. Neighbor reported digging near their land, maybe MOVYing property markers. They're worried someone's messing with the boundary. Lila's jaw tightened, a mix of disbelief and annoyance. She pointed to the dirt. "I'm pulling weeds. The markers haven't been touched. Go look." They did, strolling the patch she'd cleared, jotting notes, then nodding. "Looks fine," the tall one said. "Just checking. Sorry for the bother." But before they left, he lowered his sunglasses. "Fair warning, your neighbors have called in complaints like this before. Your dad had some boundary run-in with them a while back." Then they were gone. Lila stood there, staring at the rickety fence, the weight of it sinking in. This wasn't a mix-up. Diane Warren hadn't called the cops because she was scared. She'd done it to flex, to say, "This is my turf." That night, Lila dug through her dad's old files, buried under tax forms and receipts, and found a survey map from 15 years ago, stamped and notarized. It showed the Carter property line, clear as day, and the fence. It sat 6 feet inside her land. Diane's prize hostess, her extra gravel patch for parking. The VY-ness on her gate, all of it was on Lila's property. Sleep didn't come easy. This wasn't about a fight. It was about what kind of fight was coming. Diane hadn't misspoken. She'd drawn a line, and Lila wasn't about to let her keep it. The next morning, she called a licensed surveyor and booked a contractor to price out a temporary trench to mark the real boundary. She wasn't looking for a feud. She worked in logistics. For God's sake, she knew systems, escalation, leverage. She wanted this done right. But as she watched Diane water her flowers along the stolen strip, acting like ownership was about who'd been there longest, Lila felt something shift. She'd come to sell a house. Now she wasn't so sure she'd leave. The surveyor, a quiet guy named Tom Ellis, showed up on Thursday, all business with his laser level and GPS gear. For 3 hours, he worked alone, planting stakes, checking coordinates, while Lila watched from her kitchen, half expecting Diane to storm out. She didn't. By evening, Tom confirmed it. The Warrens had taken 1.5 meters of her land, no permits, no legal claim. Lila paid him, filed the report, and tied twine between the Stakesa's subtle marker, not a threat. Or so she thought. At 6:30 a.m., a metallic clank woke her. Barefoot, coffee in hand, Lila stepped outside to see Diane, still in her bathrobe, smashing a survey stake with a garden hoe. Their eyes locked, Diane's face hard. Then she turned and walked off without a word. Challenge accepted. By noon, a code enforcement officer was at Lila's door, clipboard in hand, claiming unpermitted excavation near the Warrens' garage. Lila handed him the survey, Tom's certification, contractor notes. He skimmed it, muttered, "You've done your homework," and left, but not before warning her about more complaints. Diane's game was clear: death by paperwork, bureaucracy as a weapon. Lila didn't bite. She installed motion lights, security cameras, and started to folder photos, logs, every sprinkler Diane tilted to soak Lila's yard, every compost bin mysteriously dumped. Diane upped the ante, hosting garden mornings with neighbors, dropping hints about entitled newcomers who didn't get how things work. Whispers spread. Some neighbors stopped while VYing. One even said Diane claimed Lila was building a barrier wall to ruin the street before selling. It was a lie, but a clever one, painting Lila as the VY lane. Then came the glass, a pile of jagged window pane shards, deliberately placed near her back gate. Lila's heart raced. This wasn't petty anymore. She called the police, who logged it as suspicious, but couldn't prove intent. So she doubled down. Floodlights, cloud-streaming cameras, motion logs backed up in triplicate. When a fake utility inspector showed up, sent by the Warrens to snoop, Lila photographed his fake ID and sent him packing. Her gate was unlatched one night, a chilling hint someone had been there. Then a shady real estate guy knocked, offering cash to buy her out before things get messy. Lila's blood boiled. "Did Diane send you?" she asked. His smirk said enough. Enough was enough. Lila, with her attorney Sarah Brooks, filed a CIVYL complaint not just against the Warrens, but for trespass, harassment, the works. She had everything: surveys, VY Deos, letters, timestamps. The hearing was no circus, just a gray courthouse and a tired judge. Sarah laid it out: the deed, the encroachment, the dumped trash, the fake inspector. She played a clip of a figure Diane, unmistakably tipping Lila's garbage. The Warrens' lawyer babbled about community tradition, but the judge wasn't VYing it. "Show me a statute where routine trumps a title," he said. Silence. The ruling was brutal. Lila's rights were upheld, the Warrens barred from nearing the trench, their petition tossed out. 2 days later, a MOVYing truck pulled into the Warrens' driveway. No neighbors helped. Diane, in plain clothes, hair loose, avoided Lila's gaze. Ed shuffled behind, clutching a potted plant. Their house hit the market, polished and empty. Lila's trench stayed, a clean line of gravel and cedar, not a scar but a statement. New neighbors moved in, an older couple, polite, clueless about the war. They thanked Lila for the survey map. She left them, even sent scones. Lila didn't gloat. She planted native grasses, rebuilt her fence, hosted friends on the patio. The cameras still hummed, but she stopped checking them. The house wasn't her dad's, Anna Maria, it was hers. Earned through every stake, every letter, every sleepless night. Diane had tried to blur the lines, to exhaust her, to erase her. She'd failed. Lila hadn't shouted. She'd stood firm, her silence louder than any scream. Now, what do you think? Was Lila right to dig in? Or did she escalate a petty spat into a neighborhood war? Could she have compromised? Or was Diane's bullying too much to ignore? Should neighbors have stepped in? Or was this Lila's fight alone? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if this got you fired up. And subscribe for more stories that'll make you question where you draw the line.